Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and the laced up legislator for the House of Delegates, Oregon District. Um, I'm going to miss saying that because I'm going to work really hard to to get elected in the 93rd. That's a whole thing. I hope y'all understand that. That is a whole thing. Today is Thursday, March 23rd. Today is Thursday, March 23rd. And we are back at it again. Tuesday, we got a chance to talk a little bit about the Dillon rule and things like that. There hasn't been a whole lot of happening since then, but we did get the was released. The tapes were released. Good morning, Miss Janice. For the recent news at the Central State Hospital. I did put out a post about that, just asking you all along the way, along that process, what would you have changed? What policy, what thing would you have implemented? And that should be on all the socials. So if you get a chance to look at that, we are going to take that information and try to use it later for the good. Find ways to bring you all into the work that we're doing. I have a couple things that I need to make sure that I share off top before we get into all the stuff and things. First of all, this Saturday, say this again, this Saturday, we have a sign and drive. Let me see if I can pull this up, get this up. We have a sign and drive happening this Saturday. So if you haven't had the opportunity to sign our petition this Saturday at Sherwood Forest, we will be there from 9 to 12 asking you to come on out and sign our petition. We need 125 signatures to get on the ballot. But we want you to show up and sign up. If you're not sure, if you're in the 93rd district, I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat where you can double check, right? Your status. I typically use VPAP right now. VPAP has been the easiest place for people to check out where they live. So if you're in the 93rd, we need you to sign. That's just housekeeping. That's just that's just the little things. Now also, let's see if I can pull this other one up. I'm going to share. Stop sharing that screen. We have a major project coming up. So this Saturday, I hope I can see you. If you can't make it this Saturday, go ahead and tell your people, like, let's come through. Let's get this done. Because that's the goal. The goal is to knock this out, be on our way, get on the ballot, and start working towards some of the community projects that we have. If you guys had the opportunity to come to the town hall, then you'll know that we also have some very big projects that we're trying to get done. One of the first projects that we're undertaking is the Norfolk soil sponge project. We'll be having our first meeting on the soil sponge project March 30th at Jordan Newby Library in the evening. I believe it starts at 5. Don't quote me. Look at me. You should quote me, right? Let me check my Facebook just to make sure. But it is a Facebook event. It's an Eventbrite. It is on Eventbrite. It's an opportunity for us to do some work. Yep. Okay. So it's Thursday, March 30th, so a week from today at 5:45. So you've got 2 opportunities to connect, right? I'm going to bring my petitions to that as well. Saturday morning from 9 to 12 at Sherwood Forest, and then the Norfolk soil sponge project on next Thursday. This project is really important. What we're doing is, there was a study that came out a while ago, ODU, about some of the hottest and wettest neighborhoods in our city. It should not surprise anybody that the hottest and the wettest neighborhoods are ones that have been redlined. So we have what are called like there are these urban spaces where, because we've taken down so many trees, it gets really, 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 really hot. And because it gets really, 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 really hot, those folks in those areas suffer the consequence of higher electricity bills. Just there's so many different things, health wise, things that directly affect them. Not only that, it floods. If you live anywhere in Norfolk, you know that it gets wet. Sometimes if it precipitation can cause a whole problem. Just a little bit of rain can cause a whole problem. So we bought these trees, I'll say shrubs, that are native to our community, that are good for two things. One, to get that green coverage, right? To put some more and that oxygen in the air, and then two, they are known for what they are able to do with the soil, which is soak up some of that water. So that's the work that we're going to be doing. We are trying to strategically plant and preserve these native green spaces to reduce the temperatures in these neighborhoods while retaining the rain, right? You've got neighborhoods like Huntersville. We're looking for families too. So if you know somebody that's like, yeah, we would love to get our little landscaping updated and we want them to sign up. You can go to delegatejackieglass.com and go to Citizen University, and there's a space where you can sign up. We need doers that are into site selection, preparation, maintenance services. Like, we want to get every household that is interested to be a part of this, because that's going to be, because we're doers, right? And this work that I want to do, I would love for campaigning to be, and I say campaigning because I feel like if we do our job in service of people, that is the evidence. And so this is a part of that pathway of doing our job in service of people. We're not going to just talk about the policies and talk about what we could do. We're going to do it, right? I'm not going to just talk about the hottest neighbor. So if you're interested in that, get up with us. Oh, yes, today is the first day of Ramadan. And you have to learn me some things when it comes to that. Good morning. Good morning. So there is that. Coming right along, I'm going to just say it on the top of this, how do I put this plainly? The new district for us is District 93, right? And with District 93, the 93rd district, let me say it that way, it leans heavily Democratic. And for you all to understand, next month we will be doing redistricting webinars not every day, once a week. Essentially once a week, we'll be having a redistricting webinar. Our first one will be on, let me get it right? Our first redistricting webinar is going to be April 5th at 5:00 at the Jordan Newby Library. That's April 5th, 5:00 at the Jordan Newby Library. Again, all of those are Facebook events, and you can go there and sign up. They should be on the website as well. But I just want to put into perspective why we're doing what we're doing. And those redistricting webinars are going to explain all of this to you, where we are, what these district means, how did it fare out for Norfolk. It is not a partisan thing. This is just an explainer. This is part of our piece of our pillars to educate, advocate, celebrate, and legislate. We always start at the education piece. But our district is our city is pretty blue. We do have some areas where it's more red than blue, and that's just how it is. But I think collectively as a city, we find that a lot of our issues don't necessarily the big things for us are not leaning one way or the other. They're not politically driven. They're people driven, because they're people problems. Being in the district that we're in, because it's so heavily blue, it's almost like, and to get you guys in the habit of understanding your voting rhythms and things like that. A lot of the elections in Norfolk, the primary is the election. So essentially, whoever comes out of that Democratic primary, except for some spaces, right, up in the northern part of our city, more so like the East Ocean View. There's some areas coming on down by the airport too that are a little bit more red, right? But typically a lot of these primary races, which are going to happen June 20th, these primary races are the election. So by the time you get to the general election, whoever comes out of that Democratic Party primary will essentially be probably your representative. And that's why primaries, I want us to get folks in a better habit of voting in primaries, because for many races, and you hear me repeating this, for many races, that is the primary. Now, because we lean so blue, people are like, hey, we're like 50 plus, right? The last folks won by like 50%. So it is, if I earn the win in the primary, then I have a very high likely chance, even if I have a contender, if I'm not a jerk or just wasn't terrible and did bad things, to win that general elections. Here's why it matters for us is that a lot of times we have folks that this summer I took it upon myself to make sure that I wasn't pulling money from the community, that I was pulling it from other places so that we can fund the mission, right? Because no mission, no money. We bought these trees, we're doing these things. We don't get a lot of people supporting our campaign financially because they're like, you don't need it, you're gonna win anyway, right? you don't need these dollars, you're gonna win anyway. But we do, right? We have work in the community that we're trying to do. Like I told you guys, I'm trying to keep a good, solid staff so that our constituent services are well. So when you see me put in the chat, I'm saying this from a place of truth and love, that I need your support, even if it's $5 a month, even if we need it, like genuinely. We're going to be trying to get this care economy website up. We're pulling people, and I've got interns. So anything that you guys can do to help, it would be much appreciated. 100%. Every time we do work, we try to pour it right back into the community. We are looking for, when we look for vendors, when we get our food, when we get, like, that doesn't change. We put it back into the city of Norfolk. We are not hiring outside consultants. We are not doing none of that. It goes right here. It stays at home. And so in the post, you'll see you can support our mission. You can support me, support the team, support the mission of doing great and being great. Because again, no money, no mission. I couldn't have bought them trees if I ain't had no money, but I've got more things we want to do. So I would love if you could take the time to contribute and help us keep continuing to do this work, because those, because we're not a big money team, right? Because of the way our race is set up. But we know that I have the privilege. That's a privilege, which means I'm still going to work hard. So in that privilege, I'm going to choose to still work hard and make sure people are stepping their game up, to include myself. Thank you so much. Look at, you said, I appreciate you. Your dedication to educating citizens is one of the reasons that everyone should be supportive of you, because you have set a new bar. I believe so. I believe we keep raising the bar, but it's as we, and thank you for that. We raise the bar, but we got to bring people in, because I can't hold that bar by myself, right? Each of you become a part of that setting a bar, and also expecting that we want more, right? Like, it's okay for us to want more out of the people that we select. It is very rare, right, that we have different folks running. I think that's a beautiful thing in the city, is you're seeing more kinds of people stepping up to run for office. And as we transition, we should want more out of, this is part of my job. In that same vein, as I said, you guys are part of this team. I wanted to take some time today to talk a little bit about some of these boards and commissions. So recently, let me pull this up so that I have it. So if you all don't know, so the governor, again, has the honor and the privilege of selecting people for state boards and state commissions, just as the city council and the mayor have the honor and the privilege of selecting folks for local boards and commissions. Now, I think, what are the ways? I'll get to, I promise, other than the internet. I apologize. So Ms. Charlene, I will, as soon as I finish this, I'll tell you all the ways. I hope you stay on, Ms. Sylvia and Ms. Charlene. But I do want to get through the boards and commissions. You can send a check. You can, you can send a check to and I'll put that in the chat, our PO box. So the Tennessee, the board, the local government, right, and the executive branch, where the head is the mayor and the head is the governor, are able to select people for these boards and commissions. And we've seen at the state level how these boards and commissions can be weaponized to do certain things. We now have a new superintendent of public instruction. I don't know if you guys know this. Um, uh, so we have this woman from Tennessee. After Jill Barlow, she was our former superintendent. She resigned earlier this month. And now we have this woman named Lisa Coons. Lisa Coons was the Tennessee chief academic officer, I think, for the Nashville. I'm trying to make sure I get it right. Out in Tennessee, she's going to start next month. She led Tennessee's Division for English Language Arts, and I think we have to make sure that we're paying attention to the folks that are coming into the city. So we continue to have issues with this administration as ever since they took control, where they were trying to prohibit inherently divisive concepts, which we still haven't identified. That I say inherently true concepts, right? Like including what's not taught in our schools, critical race theory. And it's time that we kind of, this is so frustrating, because what has happened, and this is why I need you all, if you have the bandwidth, if you have the time, we have an executive branch that has subsequently ended virtually all equity initiatives in our state. Anything that has to do with equity, which is the thing, right? And solely buys into this meritocracy. So as we get new leadership, as we get more people involved, we have to stay abreast as to what it means to have these people working for us at the state level. Now, I go to the boards and commission piece because they also appointed a person to the Virginia Board of Education to work as well. Here's the deal. Is what we see is a heavy politicizing of the people with very strong beliefs, where their political beliefs supersedes the reality of where we're at as a country. And they are getting appointed to many of these boards of visitors for higher education. You all, I truly believe, and as I have conversations with folks across the Commonwealth, the way that these higher institutions are going to be attacked, because is going to be through these boards of visitors, which are having some highly divisive people on there, right? We saw it with UEVA, and it's coming down the pipeline as the governor gets more appointees on some of these boards. The important piece to understand, especially when we were breaking things down I think that they've realized that at the local level, the school boards have more control and more say than the executive thought, than the governor may have been thinking like an executive more so than a governor, and not realizing like you can't just put your finger on the button, pressure people, or do things and then it'll just change. It just doesn't work that way, because while this is a business, it is a business with bureaucracy, and it just doesn't work that way. What we foresee is that at these higher institutions, and this is a hypothesis, this is just me having a conversation about what higher institutions means and why these boards and commissions are going to matter, is that many of my friends who grew up in households that were that their bias showed very heavily, like folks that say, my parents were just racist, and I didn't know that it was. I look back on some of the things they said or they did, and it wasn't until I went to college. It wasn't until I went to college that I really opened up and started to think differently, whether it was racial or whether it was religious. These people sort of didn't get their great awakening until they went to college. So it's under wraps. I want you all to take a look here and see that how many of these boards and commissions, our political right is relative. So it's really going to make a difference. What will make a difference is the kinds of people that show up. It is the governor's right and privilege to be able to do that. Now, I straight voted down a whole list of appointees and had to sit. Thank you, Carrie. I voted down a whole list of appointees just so that we could flag that some of these problematic people were going to be on these boards and commissions. And we got some people to vote against it. It's just very, very difficult. What did you say? Yeah, Shar said you can't even say equity in Virginia. You are absolutely right. We are at a place where equity has become this negative word, and then we pack these citizen legislators, these boards and commission, which have become an important part of government. The question is for these boards and commissions is who do these bodies represent? Do they represent the public interest? Do they represent the preferences of the appointed officials? Do they represent the interests of a particular social, economic, or political group? Or do the ideas and practices of the professional staff? And so research has discovered that public interest is generally the most important to all kinds of government boards and commissions, right? Generally speaking. There are other forms of sort of representation with the size, with the composition, the compensation, and the function, ways to organize a board and commission to make it effective and representative. And what we've seen here is just as we've heard Executive Order number 1 say nothing inherently divisive concepts, we continue to see people appointed to boards and commissions that are heavily divisive. Right? Heavily divisive. So when we talk about the owner of WebMD, right, the guy who runs who founded WebMD and went to UVA with a box cutter and threatened a student of color. It don't even matter it was a student. It doesn't matter that they were of color, but somebody's child, we have a whole ass problem. That person saying that they're going to do a battle royale at UVA to change concepts and things like that they're going to get rid of woke because everyone's talking about woke, being woke. Woke don't even mean what they're saying. And if they want to be asleep, then let them sleep like that. Y'all want to sleep, then we'll be awake fixing this stuff. So, okay, I'm sort of getting out of teaching mode and into opinion mode. So what I want to do is show you all the state site, because I need you to consider your skill set and how it can add value to our corner of the world, whether it's the city of Norfolk or to the Commonwealth. I want to see more names from Hampton Roads. I want to see more names from our space and place come up as even an option. But I think it does not often happen because these state level boards, oftentimes I feel like become a space for those, you got to have time. Right? Sometimes you got to know somebody to know somebody. You'll see a lot of them have legislators, friends and spouses and things like that. So like, because this community, y'all my friends, I ain't got but one spouse, but y'all my friends. And I believe in the power and I believe in you. I need you to consider if you have the time to start being a part of this. What did you say? That's right. It always seems innocuous, but these people really are taking power. Yes, we rely on these boards and commissions to get the job done. When we talk about where we plant trees, how we're doing the bike lanes, all these things, the city of Norfolk has boards and commissions to guide them, even to the civic activities that come to our space and place. They're citizens that are guiding the process. And Charlene says the governor thought by appointing the former state trooper from VA was the answer. Yes, this is to the Board of Education. I think it looks like we still have a problem, as he's already demonstrated that he has problems with students, transgender, and separation of church and state. Yeah, I don't. The Ask a Manager. There is a Instagram. An Instagram page called Ask a Manager, and a Virginia employee actually, and I'll see if I can pull it up. A Virginia employee wrote in and said, my boss, who just happens to be the governor, pushes his religion on me. I'm an atheist, and they feel pressure because the big boss came, and there was a prayer and the person didn't bow their head. Their boss sort of looked at them weird and things like that. They are pushing that. It's sort of theocracy that they're pushing on a place where we've already said that we're going to separate church and state. And so as they do more divisive things, but point the finger and say that history is divisive, anyway, I'm walking backwards. I want to get to these boards and commissions so that you all can sort of see where you could fit in. Let me pull it up for us. Here it is. Okay. All right, so here, let me see if I can make this bigger. What I did was I went to the Commonwealth, the VA, and I went to boards and commissions. Now, the commissions are oversaw by the Secretary of the Commonwealth, which just happens to be K. Cole James. So there are over 135, right? There's a lot. Easy thing to do right here is just click to submit an application. But everything from arts and architectural review to milk. Do you see this? I'm making this bigger so you guys can see. To the egg board, the horse board, the potato board, the peanut board, the sheep board, the soy board. Do you hear me? Y'all see this? I'm gonna go down a little bit far. The Offshore Wind Development Authority, small business, financing, gas and oil. Let's just keep it moving. Service and volunteerism, the funeral directors and embalmers board, Foundation for Healthy Use, massage therapy, like you name it. There's a board or commission here that you might be able to be a part of. And so that happens in waves. You'll see that each year there's a new rotation of boards and commissions that are sort of cycling through as folks rotate out. And again, these folks are determined and so often selected at the executive level. So I say to you, if you're interested, like, let me be helpful. Let this office be helpful in getting you to be a part of a board. But again, it does take time. And that's why you see a lot of people with privilege running for office. You see a lot of people with the privilege of time being a part of these boards and commissions. So, yeah. So there it is, all the way down to veterans and military affairs. I think that if we put ourselves in a headspace that we want to be participatory, we want to be a part, and we're finding deliberately a way to engage, that we'll be doing some amazing things. I'm going to drop this listing in the chat for you all to have. Oh, you already did it. Thank you. Y'all are the best. Dropped it in the chat. Awesome. So it's there. Vince has already dropped it. And it's just a really great opportunity. I need you. That's all I'm saying, is that we keep getting divisive, folks. I need you all to be a part of this and make it right. All right, so I'm going to go through and as I wrap up here, because I know we're already over time. Miss Sylvia. Oh, I'm going back up because I'm going to talk about this part. So this is going to be such a sunny day. I would like to make a small challenge for everyone watching to donate at least $5. Yes, just a little, because we're considered a safe race. People don't like to invest in us because they're like, you're going to win anyway. You don't need it, but we're working, like we're putting dollars to work. Miss Sylvia said, what are other ways to donate outside of that? Thank you, Carrie, for putting our P.O. box there. So you can send a check to the P.O. box 99071. Again, we will be at Sherwood Forest Recreation Center on Saturday from 9 to 12 doing the sign and drive. I need everybody there. All right. At the sign and drive, you can come drop off a check there. We haven't gotten to the point where we take, Venmo or anything like that. I just am with all the information in need. And we're getting a lot of new donors, right? A lot of people who are donating to campaigns for the first time and are very apprehensive about getting out information. So I will be doing something on what it means to give politically and why we have to know your profession, because we're trying to make sure we know we have a very transparent state. It's the wild, wild west on what people can give. But there's a lot of transparency that we have to have with who gives us money here in the Commonwealth because of that. What else do I see here? Great way to support that is to bring friends to meet her. Yeah, bring your people. I appreciate that, Carrie. bring your people, and I need them to sign my petition, so bring them. Thank you, Miss Charlene. I appreciate you. Thank you for leading the way. Miss Charlene has already given, and I encourage you all to do the same. So if we took anything from today, I just truly want you all to consider, and I'm gonna drop that link in the chat again. Uh, uh, that Vince dropped in there, that I genuinely need you all to consider what it looks like to find your way to engage with this government. With this, voting is they're trying to make it a high barrier to entry. It is not. It's one of the lowest barriers of entry, right? But there are other ways. And if you are not a person who has time, know that the office of the 89th and hopefully soon to be the office of the 93rd, we're going to have plenty of ways for you to engage in your space and place. So I'm hoping that I will see you this Saturday at Sherwood Forest, or next Thursday for the Soil Sponge Project. Again, that's at Jordan Newby Library, 545 is going to be, we'll go time at 6 o'clock. We're going to talk about how you can engage in that way. Remember, we're getting rid of some of these hot and wet places. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to be about it. We're building partners. So if you see any of the projects that we have and you know an organization that might want to engage with us, then send them our way. Go to delegatejackielast.com, go to Citizen University tab, and you'll see a lot of the work that we're doing there. Thank you for that little tidbit, Ms. Charlene. As I said before, too, the city of Norfolk also has a list that needs to be filled. So going to the state level, if that's not your thing, if that's something that you're like, you know what, I'm not for that, that's okay. I'm here for that. But also recognize on the local level, we've got some things that need your support and attention. Sound good? Sound good? Yes. All right. As always, I will see you all Saturday. Tell your friends. I'll see you all Saturday with these petitions. If I don't see you Saturday, it will definitely be Tuesday morning, same time, same place, same channel. I hope you all are able to make it a great day. Hi, Miss Deborah. Good morning. All right. Be well. Okay. Do great, be great, because we're certified doers and we get more done. Bye.